Alrighty. Well, thanks for having us here. I'm Evan, it's Amber. A lot of you guys probably know us already, but we just wanted to talk about the Practicum trip that we just went on. If you don't know what it is, every year the Bible College goes on this short missions trip. Usually it's around 3 weeks, give or take. And so what we would do is fundraise throughout the year. And just pray about where we can go to help out. Usually we go to like a sister church, like another Horizon, or we would go to another Calvary Chapel and just help them out. This year we had a overall bigger group, so we kind of just split in two, which is not uncommon, but we went to the Wisconsin and Bloomington areas, and then the other group went to Ecuador. But in the past, we have done a combined class and went multiple places before, like Texas and Mexico, to name a few. So we just want to talk about our points of view on the trip and the testimonies there. For one, I thought we had like a smaller group, it was around 11 of us. And my role in it initially was just to help out. I told Paul, if he needed any help with anything, because he technically is like the main leader or overseer concerning the trips in general, being the director of the Bible College. And I was interning for Levi. I actually just finished it, the internship. But so being an intern for Levi, that kind of has like a missions role, just to help out in the background concerning that. We went to Thailand before to help out the Moons for the Calvary Chapel Asia Conference. And I went through Bible College already, and had experience with practicum trips already as well. So I figured if they needed help with anything, I would be down to help out. And they had Israel go on the Ecuador group with Danny and Sean and Julia, and then Amber and I helped out with the Wisconsin group. So overall, I would say what I first started doing concerning planning was it was at least like 6 months before that I started to try to set things up. So a lot of it was calling multiple Calvary Chapels slash pastors, and just testing the waters and seeing like, hey, does anyone need help with anything? I think I'm better with I feel like I have a more of a compartmentalized mindset. So I usually just go down the list, and if anyone's like, yeah, sure, yeah, I need help with this, and this. Like for example, when we went to Bloomington, they needed help with painting and helping out with their youth group. Like they only have so their youth pastor became the main pastor, and so the main pastor is kind of like leading everything right now, but they are in need of a youth pastor. So as of right now, they only do a youth group like twice a month about. And so that was one thing that they wanted help with, was just hanging out with the kids, leading worship. And then we had Josh Gorley do a sermon with them, and overall just being a light to them. I think also concerning just missions in general, to be a missionary is just living your God following life in another place. You can be a missionary in Indiana, and I fully believe that. And then just the concept of missions in general, it exists because the worship of God does not in different areas. So that's why we go out and try to be a light and share the gospel. So concerning this trip, I feel like a lot of it was practical hands-on stuff, which was when we went to Wisconsin. There's a lot of like deep cleaning that we helped them out with for the Horizon over there with Matt Schroeder. And then there was also a big theme of evangelism for both Wisconsin and Bloomington. I thought it was really eye-opening concerning evangelism, in my opinion. I've had some experience doing it before, but I feel like it kind of like opened my eyes concerning how easy evangelism really is. You can just go to the store and do it. You don't have to necessarily like plan a trip to like go downtown and you know evangelize to the homeless. You could just do it in your everyday life, and I feel like that's part of what being a missionary is. So I would say, concerning my point of view for the trip, the other thing for me concerning the trip, besides evangelism, was prayer. Um, I would say for me, I was trying to figure out what does it really mean to be a leader, and specifically to lead a mission trip. And so before, during, and even after the trip, I was praying like, Lord, just help me just grow in this area. It's something that I've been wanting to do since I came to Bible college, was to lead a missions trip. And so once I finally got to do it, also I think it helped, and with entering with Levi, I think that opened my eyes to concerning a lot of things as well. And I think I also learned that for a lot of it, leadership has to do with serving. And so my point of view for the trip was not just to serve where we're at, but also to serve the team as well, and just to help out for whatever needs they had. So if someone was hungry, or someone was sick, or someone needed something, I would, be there to help out, and just to keep an eye on everybody and make sure everyone's doing good, and just having fun. You know, we're Bible college kids, so. But overall, I think they made my life easy. I think everyone had a really good mindset concerning the trip. Even if I saw that they didn't really want to do something, they still did it. And I think they were really great at the serving aspect of it. And just seeing how they interacted with others concerning evangelism, I thought that was really cool. I think a lot of them, I would say most of them, didn't have experience with evangelism. We've talked about it before in class, but a lot of them don't have the experience to do it, and so this was their experience. And so I think it opened their eyes a lot concerning evangelism as well, and how easy it can be. It doesn't have to be this grand whole thing. It can just be a conversation. And I would say, and we did it in Wisconsin and also Bloomington. We did it for the homeless, and also for college kids. And it's kind of interesting to see different points of views concerning that. I would say the homeless tend to be more open concerning hearing what you have to say. And for college kids, they're usually like more in their own world. They're either like having their headphones in, they're just doing their own thing. But so concerning that, the dynamic was a little bit different. But overall, I thought it was really cool to see how the team did concerning evangelism. I feel like at first they struggled a little bit, but once they started doing it more, they got more used to it, and were they were bolder concerning going out to others and just talking. Like the worst thing that can happen is that the conversation is awkward, and then you might not say that person again. But I feel like the Lord uses those conversations, and what we're doing is just planting seeds. We're just casting seeds, and like the Lord does the work. If you know the parable of the sower, everyone was different types of soil, and I feel like we did run into almost every kind of soil. There was the homeless that Amber mentioned, that Anthony was able to connect with really well. That even rode the bus to go to church to hang out with us more and learn about the word more, which I thought was amazing. And there definitely was people that like were like, nope, don't want to hear it. And if you ever run into that, they're not slamming the door in your face, they're slamming the door in the Lord's face. So whenever that happens, don't take it personally, and just brush your feet and go to the next person. I would say also another crazy thing was that because of the stuff that was going down in Bloomington concerning IU, with the whole Pakistan stuff going on. There was actually, when we went, it was National Day of Prayer, which I thought was crazy. And so there were people that were, I can't remember the actual term for what they called themselves, but they had vests on and they were recording conversations that they heard people have in the area where people were protesting. And so it was funny because Frank Peacock, he was the pastor down in Calvary Chapel, Bloomington. He came down with us to help evangelize. And so when he was preaching the gospel to somebody, someone else was like writing it down. So I thought that was really funny. So it was almost like a preaching to both of them. But we also went to different groups concerning evangelism. I thought it was wiser to do that than letting everyone spread out, and then just having someone to be accountable with, I thought was smart to do. But when I went with Frank, and we were able to just talk to this kid that was about to move back to New York. And I think it was like one of their last days of school there when we went. And when he first talked to him, he said, "This might sound offensive or whatever, but where do you think you're going to go when you die?" And he said, "I don't know." And then from there, he started talking about the gospel, and he was even able to pray with him, and it just touched this kid's heart. And he ended up saying that he grew up Catholic, but he also didn't know where he was going to go when he died. And I just thought it was crazy that then literally the next day he was going to fly back to New York. So I feel like the Lord used Frank there in that point. And then I would also say concerning stuff that I was thinking about during the trip, there was some people that got sick, and I don't know if you guys know Adam, but he was a new Bible college student. He was the driver for the trip. Amber and I aren't 25 and up, so we can't go on the church's insurance to go, but Adam was older, so he was our driver, but he actually got sick like a day or two after we started the trip. And so it was kind of like a whole process of like trying to help him, and getting like over-the-counter medicine for him, and also just checking up on him and seeing if he's all right. There were some points where he had to just sit back and rest, which I also thought was a good learning point for me. I feel like I have to work on learning how to rest more. We actually had a day where I set aside to just have everyone rest until we moved on to the next thing to do. And I would also say another thing that I was also trying to learn was just being more flexible. I was trying to have like this whole plan of like, okay, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and this on this trip and at this point in time. And a lot of times it doesn't work that way during missions trips. A lot of times you just have to be flexible. There's a Chuckism, the blessed are the flexible, because they will
For they shall not be broken.
not be broken. So that was also another thing I was trying to learn as well. And so if you guys want to go to 2 Chronicles 20, it's actually just going to be a short verse here, but it's verse 12. And this is just if you want to hear some context, basically Jehoshaphat was about to go into a battle, and he was praying to the Lord concerning that. So verse 12 is, "O our Father, will you not judge them? For we have not, or for we have no power against the great multitude that is coming against us, nor do we know what to do, but our eyes are upon you." So this is just kind of just a concept that I was learning, because there was a point in time where Adam was so sick that he felt like he couldn't continue on the trip, and that would have caused, I would say, just some trouble concerning the trip because he was our main driver. So I was trying to think of like a backup plan and pray. So the first thing I thought of was actually just to pray and see, Lord, like you know what to do, and I know, if anything's going to happen, it's going to be through you, Lord, not us. You just use us, Lord. So I was able to pray with the group, and we were actually able to go take Adam to MedCheck and help him get the medicine he needed, antibiotics and whatnot. And I believe another person ended up getting sick as well. But thankfully, we were able to have money set aside to use stuff like that to use for medicine or just emergencies or whatever the case may be. So that was also just, I guess, another learning experience. And I guess maybe just to end off with this, like the mission field, a lot of times is growth for the missionary. And on trips like these, like I think it's great that obviously people come to Christ and for us to be able to help out other churches and be a blessing to them. But I've also realized that going on trips like those and being on the mission field is for the missionary as well and for growth and sanctification. And I thought that was also just a really awesome thing to learn throughout the year and just on this trip. And I was super blessed to have Amber on the trip and to help with leading and just everyone and their hearts on the trip. I thought it was really a blessing for me. And I would just say also, like, if you guys want to hone in more on evangelism or just for having a heart for the lost, I would say it starts with prayer. Just seek the Lord's face, and if you want more of a heart for the lost, just pray, and the Lord will give it to you, and to have that burden. And so, yeah, I guess we're gonna have this last bit of time for Q&A. So if you guys have any questions for Amber or I, just let us know.
So, the IU campus,
Mm-hmm.
so I can see. Um, when you guys got there, when you stepped on campus, did it actually feel, or when you entered Bloomington, could you actually feel like the uh, depression, the overpowering negativity?
I think it was different for everybody. For me, I feel like it was more so when I saw the protesting area of the campus, and that's when I realized how heavy it was. And I guess that's another thing too with evangelism. Part of it is apologetics and just having a knowledge of obviously what you're talking about and what the gospel is. But concerning the protesting going on, you know, there, I feel like it was also just I just feel like talking to others there, you just have to be super smart because, and the Lord could use you no matter what. But I also feel like once you talk about if you bring in Pakistan or Israel into it, then it could get tricky. But I would say if you just focus on the main thing being like the gospel, um, you know, we're just planting seeds and the Lord does the work. So
Were they protesting National Day of Prayer?
it was just concerning what was going on during
Oh,
in
okay.
during the war. So yeah.
Can I use the mic real fast?
Oh yeah.
Not to, you don't have to take it off. You just have to take the clip off.
I give you mine if you want.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that was taking place on the same day as the National Day of Prayer? Got it.
Yes. So I think it started the day before, but they did it for multiple days. So
That morning I had prayed for like spiritual strongholds to go down in Bloomington, and at first it definitely, like the first three people we talked to, two or three, it was great, and we even ran into a couple Christians, which is crazy, but after the day, like when the day was going on, there was more resistance. I don't, I don't know that I felt it, but I could see it, and I could just see like something in me just was like, this campus is so godless, and I, it wasn't a feeling, it was just an observation, I think.
and then if you guys don't have any other questions, I just pray us out and yeah.
Okay, I really wanted to say I appreciated the word re-realize, to re-realize the gospel. That's, oh, there's just so much imagery that's taking place in my mind when we talk about re-realizing the gospel. And I just want to ask Amber, could you just speak to that very, very, very briefly again? Just because there are certain things I think deserve being said.
What do you mean?
That
Like,
you said that,
like explain what I meant?
well, yeah, you can do that, or how it affected you.
Okay.
To re-realize the gospel and the need that the body of Christ within itself needs to re-realize the gospel. I just like that word.
I like grew up around a lot of Christian language, but a lot of hypocrisy. Like I went to church, but a lot of family stuff going on. It was just like hypocrisy. And I think that really takes a toll on a young person to grow up around Christianese and like hearing about the gospel and then not seeing it really lived out, but wanting that. So I think it's just easy for me personally to become desensitized to the gospel. And I think that's true for anyone who was saved at a young age. So that's why I wanted to re-realize it, because I know it, it's just like, where's the oomph? You know what I mean? Where's the like,
Yeah.
it's awesome, but I'm not really experiencing how awesome it is. So that's, I guess, what I mean. I wanted to see it in action and realize all the implications that it has. So that's what I mean.
I also, there are just things I heard and I just don't really want them to be glossed over. Could you repeat that Chuckism?
Yep. So blessed are the flexible, for they will I always forget the very end.
They will not be broken.
They'll not be broken.
Blessed are the flexible.
For they will not be broken.
Shall not be broken.
Yep. So, and that was mainly just about just adapting to what we needed to do and not having a strict plan on I mean, overall, it's good to have a guideline and know what you're doing, but there was certain points where we had to change plans or switch it to a different day, and even if that means like the day of, there were certain points when we had to do that. So.
Did you feel spiritual attacks? Like especially when Aaron got sick?
There was some things. I remember one point, and actually only me and another kid heard it, but when we were at a house um, that Horizon Lacrosse bought for discipleship for men. And they actually just got it, so they just furnished it and everything. So we were kind of like the guinea pigs for that. But there was our neighbors. Like I remember waking up, it was like 3 a.m. I don't know if they were partying or what, but a car alarm was going off, and then some of the other neighbors got upset, and then apparently like they drove off, and then the police showed up, the fire department showed up, the ambulance showed up, and I mean only me and another person woke up to it, but I wasn't really sure what happened. But I saw that we were right by a train track, and like someone drove through, like over the train tracks, through a fence, into the cul-de-sac that we were at, and then off. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but there were some.
Wisconsin.
That was Wisconsin, yeah, and lacrosse. Um, so besides that, it was probably people getting sick, and but I think another thing that I learned that is also good to do too is debriefs. So we tried doing that every morning, just to pray with each other and pray for whoever we're helping out with, and do just a short devo. So I would say if there was anything that we ended up feeling like was spiritual warfare, we ended up praying as well, which I also felt like was helping. So.
I think another part of the spiritual warfare, a big one that I notice, maybe it's just more for girls because we care more about stuff, but we're a bit more emotional, but just frustration with each other. And that's why I was saying, like, I think a big part of why we were so unified was that we spoke up and also took space when we needed to. So, like, hey, I really need you to stop. I'm really overwhelmed, or I need you to communicate this, or like, I need to step away for a second and stuff. So, I think that was a big aspect of spiritual warfare, and I think a big first step is just realizing that that's a big part of it. Like, this is not happening because I actually hate this person. This is happening because this is spiritual, and then also I'm just a human and I get overwhelmed. So, you know what I mean? I think um, interpersonal conflict was another spiritual warfare thing.
What was one of the for either or both that where you just like, that was God? What was the thing that just like could not be explained? Just you walked right into it.
So there was a lady that we talked to in Bloomington that was homeless, and it was Amber and I and another person, and I think we just had free time at that point, so we were just walking around, and um, this lady had a sign that said "Anything helps," and um, my automatic thought was, well, if anything helps, then we can pray for her. And but initially, Amber started conversation, and she said that she would, if we can give her a sandwich or something. And there was actually a Taco Bell like right next to us, and um, Zach was also there, and he ended up having like a gift card for Taco Bell in his wallet right away. So that was like kind of like a God thing. But through that, we were able to talk to her about the gospel, and we prayed for her initially, and she accepted that. But like what Amber said, like there's a lot of conversations, including this one, where once we started talking about Jesus, then there was more pushback. which I thought was interesting. And I think, especially now, people are more saying, "Well, I don't want to offend anybody, so I know everyone has their own beliefs, and I was taught not to talk about that, so I'm just not going to talk about that, and I don't want you to talk about that." And so that was a lot of the vibe that we got from not just her, but even to Christians. There was a point where there was like a community day for Wisconsin. So it was, I think, like the state was doing it.
It was Habitat for Humanity.
So we were just helping out with landscaping, helping out in people's yards and stuff. So it'd be gardening or shoveling or whatever it is. And there was a point where someone from the Horizon Church was also working with us, and they were using it as a great opportunity to evangelize. Like, so we're doing yard work for them, and it's a good opener to just start talking about the gospel. And there was a lady that, interesting enough, like she was a Christian, but I think she was Methodist, but she said exactly that, like, I was taught growing up not to talk about religion with other people because everyone has their own beliefs. So, yeah, and I was kind of shocked concerning that. So, just getting different points of views because we got that from someone that was Christian, and we got that from someone that was homeless, and we got that from people in IU. But I feel like the gospel, it's supposed to be offensive. It's supposed to be something that is like a double-edged sword in people's hearts. So the Lord uses it, and I don't think that should discourage us to talk about it. So, yeah.
A big God thing that I noticed was the skate park in Bloomington. The fact that we sat there and had an hour-long conversation with like 3 teenage boys is very crazy. And I'll say, like, some of them were in and out, but there was this one that just was there the whole time, and he was quiet most of the time. He asked a couple of questions, but at the end, I was like, "So what do you think?" Because I could just tell something was going on in his head. And he had asked a question of like, "Why should I believe this? Like, there's a bunch of other things to believe in the world. Why this? Why your God?" And he said, and then we gave him an answer, and he said he just wasn't satisfied with the answer, but he was thinking about it. And I think that was a God thing because you don't really see people that age thinking like out loud so deeply and considering that, at least from what I've seen. So, yeah, I think that was a God thing.
Did you guys connect with any campus ministries going on there?
So I think there was one point where we were supposed to do evangelism with I can't even remember what the group is called, but there was a evangelism group that would go to IU. But I think that that just ended up.
It's called Crew.
It's called Crew.
It's Crew. It's a campus ministry.
It's what used to be Campus Crusade.
Yes, yes.
Okay. But I think the plans for that just didn't end up working. So we just ended up evangelizing on campus anyways. But there was I don't even know if it was a church or not, but it was a building concerning, it said, I don't remember like the exact words it said, but it was like pro LGBTQ, pro you name it. So we didn't it was even closed anyway, so I can't even go in there to talk to them. But besides that, we didn't really find any other on-campus people that were like a group for Christians. So
There was this Christian. The Crew group was in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Was in the university there. at IU, a couple of us ran into this girl who's like, "Are you guys praying?" And we were like, "I mean, we're sharing the gospel." She's like, "Come with me." So she took us to a rally of Jewish, like a pro-Israel protest. So we did not run into like a Christian group, but we ran into a more conservative group, and she was a Christian involved in that. I don't know if she's involved with a group. Um, she did, I think she did say that the campus is quite godless, so I don't, she has like one Christian friend.
Well, I like it being IU, being that they have the influence of the Buddhists, they have the influence of whatever the communists probably have there from China. Did you run into any Muslims?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you would have been doing the protests against Israel.
Yeah, we found there was a prayer room, but it was mainly being used for Muslims.
Yeah, there were prayer mats. But some of us went in there and prayed over the room.
Sorry.
So we were like, well, there's nobody here to talk to, so we'll just pray over the room. They have like corporate prayer places, but it's multi-faith.
I just remember Istanbul waking up like at 5:30, 6 o'clock. We had the window wide open, it was so nice, and then you heard the call, and you were like, oh, that's great. It's horrendous. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
You guys feel emboldened just by publicly speaking, just all around the nation?
To do evangelism and stuff?
Yeah, like do you feel emboldened now just
Yes.
by going out? Or
Yeah.
do you feel like discouraged?
I feel more encouraged, just realizing how easy evangelism can be. And what got me more excited was that our team got more excited about evangelism. And I think it's an area that we can all just work on more. And even just here, like, even if it has to be door to door or just going to Kroger, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be any type of like huge official trip. You know, the Lord could just use it in your life and your daily life. So, yeah.
I think for me, I feel more bold, but also a little bit, I feel more bold to go out, but like when I'm in public, just doing what I do, like going to the store or whatever, it is a wrestle of like, do I talk to this person? Do I not? How do I do it? Like, I'm supposed to like share Jesus, but like why? How do I know which people to share him with? And so I think that's been just a newer wrestle, like a stronger one since coming back. But I think also part of it is just not putting more pressure on myself than God is. So, and he's growing me. I'm trying just to figure that out. But yeah, that's me personally.
Anybody else? Well, I want to speak to both of you. I'm their spiritual mom, so. Amber, you do have that gift of speaking up and speaking out in a group, especially in an individual. We were at Brick House once, and Amber and I are in our discussion, and then she just, I don't know, I think you text me. We're sitting there together.
Did I write a note on my phone and then show you? I think I did.
Yeah, because there was a lady that was sitting at a table. Well, it was a long table, and Amber and I were at the end, and this lady was over there. And Amber said, I believe we're supposed to talk to that lady. You had something specific. I said, well, do it then. And so, Amber started the conversation. And what I want to say to that is, God opens the doors. You just walk through them. It does. And if, like you said, if you're not received, you wipe your feet off and go somewhere else. He'll open the door. So it's nothing to be real nervous about, because humility, that gifting of the Holy Spirit and that humility will carry you. I mean, it will carry you into several different places that you didn't even think Um, I and the boldness, having the Holy Spirit within you creates and gives you boldness. So that's not about a feeling, it's about the truth and the Word of God that's going to lead both of you. I know we said a lot about feelings, and God gave them to us. Okay, I'm not putting down on feelings, but my advice to you would be always put the truth first. This is the way I feel. The Word of God says this, so I am walking in that. So I'm supposed to walk away, or I'm not supposed to say anything, or yeah, I'm supposed to say something. He'll totally lead and guide you through that. I think that it's wonderful that the Bible College gives this opportunity to just go outside of the comfort zone and live and do those things that you're studying that you would not ordinarily do. You know, um, I think in a lot of ways we all evangelize. We're all on the mission field, even if it's giving those divine appointments within your own household. Um, it's a mission. It's being a servant, and as you said. So, and I just think Evan, just recognize what God has for you as far as leadership is concerned. Um, have the boldness. I know that I came out to meet with them. I forget, it was some crazy hour in the morning. What was it, 7, 8, something in the morning when they were getting ready to leave.
Oh, yeah.
And we prayed. We asked for prayer. Evan prayed, and it was like crickets after that. And I'm like, what? And I spoke to each and every one of them about the boldness and where they're getting ready to go, and just what could possibly happen. You guys need to cover each other in prayer. You need to cover this van in prayer, the cars in prayer. You need to, you know, step up. And at that point, because I thought, oh, they're just gonna ride on Evan. But no, wasn't supposed to be that way. So I'm glad to hear you say that they made it easy. Because and every single last one of them prayed the most dynamic prayers after that. I mean, I'm not familiar with all of them, but some of them, you can pray? Seriously, I mean, wow. And even your prayer, man. I loved your prayer, man. Thank you. Because we have to have that boldness. Regardless of what our feelings are, we know that God is inside of us and the Holy Spirit dwells there, and I'm not going to preach. Okay, so